What illegal thing do you do on a regular basis? I have never told anyone about this before, but back when I was 15, 1979, I stole a Datsun 240Z car in my neighborhood. I was walking home from a friend's house one hot summer night, and as I walked by this cool Z car, I noticed a single key sticking out of the driver's door lock. I had always thought that that car was cool and thought it would have been bitchin' to drive. Well, it was. So I kinda looked around and saw no signs of life anywhere, so I got in and drove it off. It was a super nice car. I drove all around the valley. Grew up in Palm Springs. This car was too nice to be treated to a joyride, so after a few hours of driving it, I took it back and parked it right back in its parking spot at about 4 a.m. I figured it was very unlikely that the owner would even know it had drove, other than it missing about a 1/3 of tank of gas. But I did keep the key, because they would think they just misplaced it somewhere. And I guess that's exactly what they did, because a couple of weeks later I did the same thing, only this time it was almost out of gas, so I had to put some in it. Did the second time, just like the first time. About a week later I did it again. That time I drove it up to Big Bear Lake because I was dying to drive it on mountain roads. It was a blast. Until I stopped at a little gas market to get a snack and bumped into one of my older brother's good friend, who knew I was only 15 and didn't have driver's license or a car, much less a vintage sports car. I can't remember the lies I told him, but knew I was going to be in deep shit when I got home. I hauled ass back to PS, stopped at 7-Eleven and filled the car with gas and snuck it back into their driveway, took a pen and scribbled out a thank you note and told them that I really loved their car and they really shouldn't leave the key in the door overnight. Oh, and BTW, I filled the tank for you. Thanks, Zakalva. Oh, and my brother's friend. He never said a word to anyone about seeing me.